Well, hello. Don't I look lovely? I'm going in for a job interview. I have several places that have called me based on my smashing resume. A lot of people would tell you to be professional, but I don't think that this is the way to win people. Especially now, you know, Donald Trump's the president. Nothing's professional anymore. It really and truly, like, you can't disagree with that no matter what side of the political aisle you're on. I mean, he's really opened up the doors. And everybody thinks that they can be president. You see, what's important is to be the president in your own universe. That's why I don't give a fuck one way or the other. I mean, I voted for the last guy that we had in office. The first time that he ran, I voted for him. And then once I realized what he was actually doing, I was like, fuck this guy, and fuck all the other ones too. And so I just opted out because I think that politics is the biggest scam since the IRS. No, it's a bigger scam. You're right. You're right. Okay, well, I probably should put on my seatbelt, even though I really don't wanna. Yeah, but my resume is just like sarcastic. I'm such a smartass. Like, you know how they ask for like skills? Like, what are your skills? I'm like, humor, life, multitasking. Multitasking is definitely a skill. Because a lot of people can't multitask. It's very, very hard. Like, you have to have a weird-ass brain to be able to multitask. Now, I'm probably gonna get lipstick on my teeth. I wish that the vortex could tell me when these things are happening, but unfortunately, you're all the way in there. So, I was gonna say something, I forgot. Oh, yeah. I said that I would do a video on this. Marijuana. I switched to CBD. With CBD, there's a very, very small trace of THC. And you notice it immediately when you take CBD. Like, you sort of feel like this, but that's it. You know, you don't get high. Your mind isn't altered. You can still function. Now, granted, I've been smoking weed for so long that it's like, it was such a part of my routine that it was almost like I couldn't function without it for a while. And then I started to like wean myself off of it. Like, once I began the process of like making edibles, once I learned how to cook with it, I realized that I didn't need it like I thought I did, you know? Like, if I got really angry, like, I would eat part of a cookie and that would calm me down. Or, you know, if I was bored, I'd eat it and that would, you know, get me high or whatever. But eating it's different than smoking it. Like, it's more of a body high than it is a mental high. And a lot of people have to smoke it. Like my drug dealer, for example, like he has always refused my cookies because he says they don't do shit for him. And not just specifically mine, but anybody's. He says that edibles just don't do it for him. It's been a month, and I don't miss it at all.
I'll tell you guys how I came to this conclusion. Okay, so a long time ago, I had a communist friend. And I bring up this story to you'll understand why I'm bringing up this story later on. Just not right now, but I promise there's a point. So, I have a communist friend a long time ago. I'm sure he wouldn't still be friends with me now, considering my political beliefs and how far different they are from his. I've seen this motherfucker's Twitter page. I know the direction he's going, and he's just going further and further left, just like a lot of people in this country. But I was at his house a while back, his mom's house, and his mom's in the academy, by the way. You guys know about the academy? It's fucking good for nothing pieces of shit. Think they're like better than everybody else because they're celebrities or whatever the fuck. Well, his mom is really sweet. I shouldn't just talk shit, but I can't help it. But that's the kind of environment that he was raised in. Very, very leftist. He used to go dumpster diving. Now, dumpster diving is pretty cool. Like, not only can you sell those books that are in the dumpster that people regard as trash, but it's just cool because, like, you never know if you're gonna find something really awesome, you know. And what he found, you know, he found a bunch of books that he thought, you know, were trash. And his bright idea was, let's burn these books. Now, I was a liberal at the time, and I didn't like Ann Coulter at all. I thought she was total cunt. Now I think she's hilarious, but back then, I thought that she was just evil. And he wanted me to burn her book. Now, I've done a lot of really horrible things in my life. I've stolen from my friends and my family. I've lied to people that I cared about. I've taken advantage of situations. I've manipulated people. I've played the victim. I played the victim of all my psychological problems. I put myself in situations and act like, oh, I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm getting myself into, but I knew what I was getting myself into. This is why I'm so hard on women. It's because I'm very hard on myself, and I've seen myself repeat this kind of behavior that I see all the time right now going on, that people just keep making excuses for. But I've done a lot of really bad things, but nothing in my life brings me more shame than the fact that I burned an Ann Coulter book. Now, like I said, I didn't agree with her. I thought she was a cunt. But I got into an argument with my friend over this shit. I was like, this is wrong. This is totally wrong. And he was like, well, you know, I don't think that her words should be out there. What? I was like, honey, you can just debate her. You know, if you don't agree with her, why don't we talk about it? Why are we gonna burn these pages? You know, it's fucked up. But I did it anyway. I did it anyway after this argument that I got into him, because, you know, I figured, like, it's his house, it's his bonfire, it's his fucking book. He got this motherfucker out of the dumpster. But it was still wrong. And I still did something that I knew was wrong. And I shouldn't have done that. And if I could talk to Anne, I would ask her to forgive me. But I brought up that story because the last night that I ate a pot cookie, it was the weirdest thing. I've been going this direction anyway, so I don't credit Anne for all of it. But I had this really weird feeling that night. Now, I've said this before, I've never, like, regretted smoking weed, eating weed, having anything to do with weed. I've never regretted that. Except for this last night that I ate that cookie. Like, I just kept thinking about it. I was like, dude, I just want to quit. But I went home and I ate this cookie, against my better judgment. It was just this instinct, you know? I don't eat that cookie. But I ate it because it was a habit of mine. And immediately when I ate it, I regret it. And then I went on Coulter's Twitter page. It was a mistake me going on anybody's Twitter page. But there was a direct link to an article about how marijuana has been linked to violence. Now, I'm not a violent person. I've never been in a physical fight. I have no intention of hurting anybody. The whole reason that I want a firearm is just to protect myself, and that's the reason why firearms exist. It's not to shoot people in schools. It's to protect life, defend life. They're purposely misconstruing it for their own political agenda. It's pretty disturbing what's happening in America, you guys. But as long as I trust God, which at this point is all we have, because I'm definitely not trusting anybody else. You know, I trust myself, but I mean, I still make mistakes. I still, you know, didn't follow my instinct to not eat that cookie, but I ate it anyway. That's the one time that I've regretted using marijuana. It was the last time that I used marijuana. And it was just a feeling. It was just this gut feeling. I was like, this is bad. This is bad. It's not doing for me what it used to do, and it's making me paranoid. And now, like several friends of mine, like I've said, several friends of mine have quit weed because it's just fucked with their anxiety. They don't have like the kind of psychological problems that I do. Now, with schizophrenia, schizophrenia is not in the bad spectrum. Okay, like the schizophrenia spectrum is not bad. Sure, you get a paranoid schizophrenic that can freak out and kill somebody, but the chances of that happening are very slim to none. Okay, the cluster that you really need to worry about is cluster B, and those are all the poster people. That's what I call them. It's narcissistic, antisocial, histrionic, and borderline. Now, the reason why my disorder is very different from the regular classic lashing out borderline is because I internalize all of my feelings. But when I was reading this article about this direct link with marijuana and violence, the states where they've legalized it, they've had a dramatic increase in violence. It's all white people too. Isn't that comforting? White people, I don't think white people should be allowed to get high. Like, I mean, I don't think that they can handle it. It seems like, I know this probably sounds racist, but like, I've never met a black person that can't handle themselves on drugs and alcohol. Like, they might be addicted to it or whatever the fuck, but they still maintain, you know? White people cannot maintain to save their fucking life, quite literally. I mean, they'll kill themselves. They'll kill other people. That's what these statistics have proven. And if you think about how strong marijuana is now, compared to like, you know, what people consider to be harmless, it's so much stronger than it was back in the 70s, folks. Now, I'm not saying that if you smoke weed, you're going to go out and do something crazy. But the problem with weed is that the reason why it is addictive is because people think that it's not. Because so often I hear, oh, well, you can't get addicted to it. These are people that are definitely addicted to weed. People that are saying this shit, they wouldn't know what to do without it. Now, do I think that weed is better than psychiatric drugs? Hell fucking yeah. It grows in the ground, it's natural. But at this point, you really don't know. They're injecting it with fentanyl, and they're purposely diluting it to make it shit. You know, like, unless you grow it yourself, there's really no way to know. And it's not just that, like, they could be putting shit in the weed. They could be putting shit on the weed, like all the pesticides. Monsanto, hello. I'm just surprised that these kinds of concerns aren't even considered. You know, like, people are just so fucking dumb. It figures that I would quit smoking weed right when it's going to be like legalized on a federal level. You know, I'm like, fuck this, you know. I'm such a contrarian. Naturally, everything that people do, like, they think is cool, I'm going to fight against it. But here's the thing, like, I might go back to smoking it if I grow it myself. Or if I know the person growing it and I watch them do it. Because I do like weed, I think it's fucking awesome, but it's just, I don't know, I'm just taking myself a little break. Seeing how long I can go. But yeah, like, I haven't missed it. Like, conveniently, I had just made a fuck ton of pot cookies, right? But it's so weird, like, when I made these cookies, I had the same feeling that I had the last night that I ate one. It was just like this weird feeling, like, man, I'm not getting what I used to get out of this. But like I said, I feel like I was going that direction anyway, and just sort of helped me along. But Aunt Coulter hates marijuana. She hates it. I think that she hates marijuana more than she hates immigrants. That's impressive. Illegal ones. You know, I don't even think that she hates illegal immigrants as much as she hates the government making excuses for illegal immigrants. Because there are plenty of illegal immigrants that are very humble. I've met a lot of them. And they know what they did. They know what they did. Now, it's just ironic, considering the fact that this bitch whose book I burned back in the day, after I got into an argument with my communist friend as a liberal, you think I'd be all for it, but I mean, I'm for freedom of speech, babe. I'm not for burning books. That's like a Nazi thing. But that's the thing, it makes sense why, you know, a leftist would want to burn a book rather than debate the person that wrote it. Probably because they don't have a leg to stand on. I don't even think they have one of those peg legs, like one of those like little wooden, you know what I'm talking about? Pirates have them. They don't even have one of those. Because like everything that they say, like all their arguments fall apart. But you know, conservatives have that problem too, you know, if you're like pro-war, but you're also pro-life, you know, that doesn't really make sense. So you're against killing babies in the womb just so they can be eventual soldiers that get slaughtered in some foreign land while they slaughter everybody in that foreign land? All for this bullshit of freedom! America! It just makes me mad. How can that not make you mad? I mean, personally, I think that war is way worse than abortion. Because those people are already alive. At least when you abort a baby, like, the baby doesn't know, like, how terrible the world is. You know, like, a lot of people are like, oh, it's an innocent life. I mean, it is an innocent life, and I'm not taking that away. I'm not taking away the fact that it's a life that you're destroying. Like, I don't have to lie. That's the thing. I should tell you right there, that mindset's fucked up. If they have to lie about it, if they have to say it's like a cluster of cells and all this bullshit. You know, if Planned Parenthood told them it was a unicorn, they believe that shit too. They'd be like, oh yeah, here at Planned Parenthood, we have these special unicorn pliers, and we send the unicorn straight to unicorn heaven. We've been getting it wrong this whole time. You thought it was a baby, it wasn't a baby. You thought it was a life, it wasn't a life. You thought it was a cluster of cells, it's not even that, it's a unicorn. But here's the thing, like, I'm still on the fence about abortion because I know that the world's a fucked up place. And I think about all the people in foster care right now who wish that they'd been aborted. So, you know, looking at that demographic, it's hard to talk about, you know, preserving the innocent. You know, when they're not going to be innocent for very long, I'll tell you that. The Child Protective Services, what the fuck is that shit? What are you protecting them from? A happy childhood? Anyway, I go on these rants. There's just all kinds of shit that, like, so many people on both sides of the political aisle just don't know anything about, and they don't care. Like, they don't care to know because it goes against their personal agenda. So if you're against abortion, why the fuck would you listen to somebody who has a horrible foster care story? If you're against abortion, why would you listen to somebody that's been raped by their uncle? I mean, why the fuck would you want to, like, provide a child? Like, why would you bring a child into the world under those conditions? You know? A child of incest. A child that's gonna have really shitty genes because its father's a fucking rapist. You know, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, you know, they want to talk about the bigger picture. All these conservatives, they talk about the bigger picture. I'm like, you're not looking at the bigger picture when it comes to abortion. Ever. Ever, 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 fucking ever. They don't care about it. Okay. I don't know why I switched lanes, because, like, I'm in one of those lanes that, like, turns into the other lane. I'm just a fucking idiot. Shit. Well. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy. Amy doesn't know how to drive. I'm a woman. Sorry. I like having a vagina, though. It's cool because I can masturbate in public. It's cool because, you know, I can play the victim all the time because I bleed once a month, sometimes twice because I'm anorexic. Don't worry, we're working on it, thanks to the Lord. But, yeah, I'm anorexic. Did I say schizophrenic or did I say anorexic? Well, it doesn't matter. I'm sure that schizos don't eat either. I'm sure that's like a significant problem that they have if their brain is as kooky as your brain is. So I say that I'm on the World Watchers diet. Do you know what that is? You fuckers in the vortex that are morbidly obese, y'all need to get on the World Watchers diet. Sorry, I'm like directly under the slide. I have to like pay attention, see if it turns green. The World Watchers diet is where I watch a bunch of alternative news sources, and I am not motivated to eat because of how horrible the world is. I mean, I think that's why Americans are so obese. It's like they have no idea what the fuck's going on. Jesus H. Christ. Just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. If you pay attention to those cars over there, you see them stopping? You see them stopping, then you know that it's time. It's time. It's time. So proud of you. Mommy's proud. Just kidding, Daddy's proud. Do you guys think I look nice? Because, you know, all the attempts that I make to look nice, I know that I still look crazy. Like, no matter what. It's not like I don't have good clothes. I do have good clothes. It's just most of the time I choose not to wear them. Because I just don't give a fuck about my physical appearance. You know? That doesn't mean that, like, you know, I come out looking disheveled. I mean, I used to all the time. I think I'm a little better at that now than I used to be, but just I think that a lot of people, they get apathetic. They get apathetic about like the state of being that they are in. You know, you see this with fat people. You see this with skinny people. I mean, you see this with, you know, drug addicts, alcoholics. You know, it's like they just get used to their life sucking and they're like, you know, fuck it. I'm just gonna get government aid. Fuck those people. Like, if you think that I don't care about poor people, you're absolutely wrong. Giving poor people money doesn't help them. You need to teach them how to use their money wisely. You know, because if you give poor people more money, they're just going to use it to buy drugs. I mean, that's what most of them do with it. You can say I'm judgmental for that. I mean, you're right. I do judge people, but I judge people in ways that make sense. Anyway. See, like I said, I wouldn't be against the idea of helping poor people if it actually helped them. Help them do something other than stay poor, you know? Because, I mean, think about it like this. You give a homeless person a $20 bill, what do you think they're going to do with it? Save it? I mean, first of all, that wouldn't be wise for them to do that. You know, because then the other homeless people know that they have money and they'll try to steal it. So it's survival of the fittest on the street, at least from the homeless people I've spoken to. I mean, they might buy food. Really, the only guarantee that you have that they're going to buy food is if you buy it for them. Not that I'm against them, like, buying drugs and alcohol. I mean, if they're living on the street, they might as well, you know? But that's the thing, like, 9 times out of 10, that's what they're going to do with that money. They're going to take it to somebody they know that sells drugs, or they're going to take it to a liquor store. So it's like there are plenty of people in this country and all over the world that, you know, are between a rock and a hard place. And what sucks about this country, it's like the income inequality is a thing because of our Federal Reserve. They want to keep talking about race, but there are plenty of poor people that are white. They all live in trailer parks. So how do we fix that? That's the question. That should be the question on people's minds. Not, let's just do what we've been doing and keep giving them money. But I don't even think that's what they're doing. I don't even think that it would be one thing if the 1% were given like a 70% income tax and that money was funneled directly into the pockets of poor people, and they were able to do something positive with it. But I don't think that's what's happening. And they don't ever want to like look further into it. At least people on the left, from what I can see, is that they just don't want to look further into it. The reason why people on the right are skeptical is because we're not just gonna, you know, change things like if it doesn't make sense to change things. But I mean, change is good. Change is good for a lot of reasons. It just depends on what the change is and why you're doing it. If change means like let's teach anal sex to, you know, children under 10, you know, I would say that's not good change. I say that, like, let's go back and try to reform sex education. But you know, I used to not understand like why conservatives were against sex education, but I get it now. I used to not understand why conservatives were against gay marriage, but I get it now. I have a saying, you let a liberal get their foot in the door, that door is no more. And I'll leave you guys with that. I'm going to go in for my job interview. I'm sweating like a pig. But what's new? Cheers to y'all in the vortex. Cheers to me. Cheers to Henry David Thoreau. I'll see you guys later.